our first comic, well, your next comic, I guess I was the first comic. Your next comic coming to the stage, as anybody who's been here before knows, I don't introduce comics by anything other than how I met them. I was actually working up at the Rocky Gap Casino doing comedy. I was performing, and this gentleman came in and did a guest spot. I thought he was really funny, and I thought it'd be fun to get him down here. I was giving it up for Tate Griffen, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah.
Good. Let's pretend like we're on pay-per-view and try it again. How are you guys doing tonight? All right. My name is Tate Griffen. I'm 6'5", I weigh 320 pounds, and I drive a 1991 Geo Metro LSI convertible. It's this big. I put it on more than really get into it. My wife says when the top's down and my hairs look like this, I look like a Happy Meal toy. So there's that. Yeah, I'm 42 and I'm in the worst shape of my entire life, but I have more income than I've ever had in my entire life. And those two facts were never brought more sharply into focus than the other day when I spilled a pocket full of change on the ground, and I only bent over to pick up the quarters. And there was a time in my life when I would have squatted down to pick those pennies up with my butt cheeks. Facts. My wife and I celebrated our 21st wedding anniversary last week. She deserves 99% of that applause. I deserve 1%. Keeping in mind there's a 1% margin of error. For real. She's awesome. She's a psychotherapist. She got her doctorate recently. I'll be paying for it in the distant future. But yeah, she gets a little dark because, again, she's a psychotherapist. She gets a little cerebral on us. And I'll give you a perfect example. She does it with our kids. But first, I gotta tell you about fails. Who here watches fails on YouTube? Fails, people getting hurt, doing dumb stuff. I love that. I love it. I love it when they combine them. I like to see people getting hit like in the crotch with a snowball while they're jumping on a trampoline. Or a frat boy that lights a drink on fire and goes to take a drink of it and then lights his face on fire and he's punching himself because that's better than burning alive. I love that. So I'm telling her, I'm like, let's watch some fails. She's like, those are dumb. I'm like, come on, we gotta watch fails. Just pick any kind of fail you want to pick. She's like, all right. Swimming fails. It's like, people drown whenever they fail at swimming. Airplane fails. I think a lot of people die when an airplane fails. Parachute fails. Like, no, you gotta make it a little bit fun. Like Halloween when somebody dresses up like a scarecrow and they're sitting on the porch. And then they jump up and scare a kid and they spill all their candy and start crying. I love that. Like something like that. She's like, all right, how about Christmas morning fails with a sharp focus on young children's extreme gift disappointment? It's like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. And I love her. Yeah, it's just terrible. It's like, that's crazy. We have a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 16-year-old, and they're getting to that age where they're figuring out that we're not great. You know what I mean? Like, just by applause, how many parents do we have in here? Okay, well, if you know, if your children are young, they think you're great. They think you're Superman, Superwoman, right? Well, that whole mirage starts to dissipate when they get to be around 15 or 16 and they're talking to anybody besides you. Just saying. So anyway, we're walking down the Walmart aisle, and we're in Walmart walking down to get the yogurt, and my son walks over and he's like, they quit making Trix yogurt! I'm like, what? Because they quit making Trix yogurt. For those that don't know, the artificially flavored and sweetened cereal became an artificially flavored and sweetened yogurt. So they say. I believe it was according to the Caraway Council of Food. Somehow it ended up being legal. This came out in 1998, and he was born in 1999. So he's never known a world without Trix yogurt, and now he's facing an existential crisis. And my wife, in an effort to make him feel better emotionally, says, it's okay, you're gonna find the older you get, the more things you say goodbye to. Forever. He's like, what? He's like, yeah, today it's Trix yogurt, tomorrow it's your parents. I'm like, you need to say something. Like, that's terrible. She's like, look at the bright side. One day you'll never have to say goodbye to anything because everything you ever loved will already be gone. But you're not helping. This is bad news. You're not doing a good job with this. I'm from Appalachia, West Virginia. How many people? Anybody in here from West Virginia? All right. But my guess is you're from West Virginia where there's telephone poles and cable and whatnot.
We have water.
Yeah, water that you can drink, things like that. Drinkable water. You know, that hoity-toity drinkable water. It's good stuff. I'm from that part of West Virginia where the buses don't run. I'm not naming the town, Moorfield. And I don't want to talk about the store they have there, Walmart. But when you go there, and Walmart's kind of the place everybody meets, the thing about Walmart is you get a whole bunch of people that live there in the same place at the same time. And you start noticing that patterns begin to emerge. And I find from walking around there for about 40 minutes, you start to notice something. Everybody in that room, if they're happy, their top lip stops touching their teeth. I want me some Kenny Chesney tickets on the WROG. They're obstructed view, but I'm going to see me some Kenny Chesney. It's going to be awesome. Conversely, when they're upset, it's their bottom lip that doesn't touch. What the hell you mean I gotta? What the hell you mean I can't bring these tires back? They only got 18,000 miles on them. You want to take this gift card back for cash? What the hell you talking about? This is some BS with a capital B and a capital S. It's what I call some nonsense right here. Yeah, I own a comic book store. Ladies, settle down. And at my comic book shop, I have two cats. They make me feel expensive because they are calicos and they match. Yeah, let's hear it for the calico cats, huh? They're great. They look really expensive. Anyway, their names are Katie and Gracie. They are 12 years old and 15 years old, and they live at the comic book store. And I have a ton of people that come there and don't buy anything from me. They're only there to visit the cats. The cats have way more fanfare than I do, and that's fine. So they're there chilling, doing their thing. Well, when I close on Saturday, I don't come back in until Monday. So recently I come in on a Monday morning, about 10 o'clock, and find that I'd left the bathroom door closed, and that is where the cat litter is. These cats are 12 and 15 years old, and they're in a room with $500,000 worth of nerd merchandise. Yeah. So I immediately walk in and do that storming, bent over, walk and sniff. Where's it at? Like I'm looking because there's no way these cats made it. I get all the way to the bathroom door. I open it. These cats run into the bathroom. Have you guys ever seen two cats share a litter box?
No.
I never have. These cats were synchronized pooping like it was an Olympic event. And I was standing there like, okay, great guys, you did a great job. That's awesome. So I go over to the register because I'm going to get some money out because I'm going to go next door and get them some food. Not the name brand stuff, mind you, but something that's still pretty nice and forces me to break a 5 because then they'll be happy and I'll still feel good about myself. So I go over to the register, and when I hit it to pop it open, I look down and realize that my older cat, Katie, had taken a dump in my coffee mug. Swish on that. Boom. And I wanted to be really angry, except for the fact that you gotta admire the dexterity of a 15-year-old cat that can make that happen. That's talent and vengeance. You know what I'm saying? You guys having a good time here tonight so far? Are you looking forward to having even more fun? Well, good. I'm glad. I'd like to tell you guys about the worst night I ever had in comedy. Is that okay? I heard, please, tell me that. I want to know your worst situation will make my night so much better. That's a little hurtful, but I also relate, so we're going to do that. So I was at a casino in Indiana, and I came up and I was supposed to do 15 minutes. I got up on stage, standing there getting ready to start telling my jokes, and I tell the first one, and nobody responds. Nobody. 200 people, nobody does anything. Nobody makes a sound. There wasn't sneezing, there wasn't coughing, there wasn't hissing, there wasn't talking quietly, there was no laughing. It was as if my level of unfunniness had placed all these people in a state of suspended animation. Yeah, it was bad. And that was in minute 3. I'm like, this is bad news. Now, I don't know about you guys, but just by applause, who here has ever had to give a report at church or school or whatever, get in front of a bunch of people and talk and felt nervous about that? Anybody? Of course, we all have felt that way. Well, I felt that way. And you get the rumbling in your stomach, you get the butterflies, your head starts screaming, you're like starting to get pant and sweaty, it's all bad news. The thing is that all ends within a minute or 2. But this, I'm looking down the barrel of 17 more minutes. And I start to marinate in it. I just start to almost enjoy it. I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna be up here, I'm gonna say things, nobody's gonna laugh, it's gonna be okay. My head's still screaming, but I start to identify after about the 5th or 6th minute, I start to identify what it is I'm hearing in my brain. It was the Price is Right theme song. And it wasn't the good one. It wasn't the whole world's your oyster beginning where you might win a car or you're gonna win at Plinko. You know the song, I'm not gonna keep doing it, you're welcome. But it's not the upbeat version. It's the bummer remix. When the little guy falls off the edge of the cliff and is trying to get over. Or when you pick 1 instead of 9 for the first digit on the car. That's what I was hearing in my brain, in my head while these people were not laughing. It almost sounds like an overweight man is trying to fart out the melody. It's bad news. So once I realized that, I decided to include them. I think, well, comedy's truth or something. So I'm going to go ahead and include everybody in that. I'm going to tell you guys what I told them. It's like, everybody, this is what I'm hearing in my brain. I'm hearing the bummer remix of Price is Right theme. So what I want is all of you to join me. Okay? I'm going to go, and you're all going to go, meh. See, some of you are doing it already. We're on board. Okay? This is what I say to them. You guys ready? And that's what they did after every joke I told for the next 17 minutes. Didn't happen kind of like that. It happened exactly like that. So I was like, well, I had, I'm standing there, I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's how this show's going to end. Now, wait, I maybe have one more joke. I'll tell one more joke. And I get a drink of water. And as I go to take a drink, that vulnerable spot where you can't say or do anything, I hear this really old lady from the back of the room out of nowhere say, oh, I get it. You only bent over and picked up the quarters on account of you're fat and lazy. And I was like, that's funnier than anything I had to say. So that was the end of my night. And I said, thank you. I don't want to thank all of you. Thank you so much. My name's Tate Griffen. I really appreciate it. And let's give it up for your host here. Thank you.
All right, Tate Griffen. He gets to drive back to West Virginia.